everybody, welcome back to theclinicaltrialsguru.com. Again, it's theclinicaltrialsguru.com. Thank you very much for watching on YouTube. For those of you who are brand new, first of all, welcome. Thank you. Make sure you subscribe, okay? Subscribe on YouTube. Or if you're watching this on the blog, subscribe on the blog. You don't want to miss out on my latest videos, contests, giveaways, important announcements, things like that related to clinical research. Also follow me on every social network. Usernames are underneath this video, but for those of you watching on the blog, my username is Dan Sfera, okay, and you can find all the links to my social networks on my bio page there as well. Alright, so for those of you who don't know how this works, you send me a question via any social network or email, dan@theclinicaltrialsguru.com, or text 949-415-6256, and I'll keep you anonymous, and I will make a video response if I think it's a good question, and if not, then I will reply with an answer. So today's question is in regards to technology. Let me just get into it, okay? What technology systems are available in clinical research to help a site gain a competitive advantage? So, he gives some examples here, which I'll go through. Intralinks, which is the most obvious. They're a sponsor of my show. You'll see their logo right here. You also see a little page about them on the blog, powered by Intralinks. Intralinks is good. It's a virtual workspace. It actually is very helpful for me, and I don't know how helpful, honestly, I don't know how helpful it can be for a brand new site that is relatively small. I don't think you're going to get much of a competitive advantage yet because it's a virtual workspace. So where it benefits me and some of the larger sites or some of the site organizations, because I run a network of sites across the country, is we can upload all of our documents for every study and organize everything by sites in one area. And I don't have to email people back and forth and then remember who I emailed what, or remember who I still need to email something. We just put all our documents in there into folders, broken down by site, then broken down by protocol, then broken down even more specifically. People can go on there, they can upload, they can download, they can edit. More importantly, most importantly probably for me, is you can tell when someone downloaded something or looked at something. So I like this technology. I think it gives me a competitive advantage, and I think sites, larger sites, and especially the network of sites, should really look into using Intralinks Via or any other virtual workspace, but as far as I know, they're the only ones in this industry. Alright? Now, for a small site, as much as I would love to say Intralinks Via would be a competitive advantage, it's probably too early for that. However, in 2 to 3 years, I think it is going to be a competitive advantage because studies are being moved to remote monitoring systems. And if you have that in place, you have your staff familiarized with the platform, and you can just plug in your monitors, give them access to the documents, and not really miss a beat. But for now, if you're a brand new site and you're a small site, you don't necessarily need Intralinks Via right away. However, don't get too used to not having a virtual workspace because it is coming. We are going to need it. Remote monitoring is here. Risk-based monitoring is here to stay. Technologies are only going to pave the way for more of this kind of stuff in the future. Other technologies that he mentioned: fingerprint systems to avoid duplicate participants. So it could be a competitive advantage. I mean, to use technology as a competitive advantage at the site level is, I don't think this is like other industries where you can necessarily have a competitive advantage based on a technology, right? Especially at a research site level. You're not really in charge of designing protocols. You can control only a few things, such as how your PIs access documents, which virtual workspaces would be perfect for, how you enroll patients. So maybe the fingerprint system is a way to do that for your site. However, I don't think technology plays a huge role for the success of a research site. I think this industry is very old school um, in the fact that a research clinic, in my opinion, really has three sets of customers: their patients, the PIs, and the study sponsors. And technology may or may not help with any of those things. I mean, it probably does play a large role in all of those things, but all the sites are pretty much using the same technologies. So this fingerprint system to avoid duplicate participants, it's only going to work if other sites are using it, because you need to actually cross-reference your database with another site's database. So this technology would work at your site if only if other sites are using it. If they're not, then you're not getting a competitive advantage because there's no fingerprint to cross-reference at another site. And plus, there's a much cheaper way to do this to ensure that a subject is not a duplicate subject. You get their initials and their date of birth, and you call the sponsor, call the project manager, and ask them to look up those initials and that date of birth for that study to see if that study participant ever participated in that study at another site. So I don't think that's a competitive advantage at all by having this fingerprint system. I think picking up the phone, calling, and cross-referencing it manually is an actual competitive advantage. An emailing system to remind or notify database of recruitment opportunities. So as far as patient recruitment, I do think there is some value there as far as retention and possibly even recruitment for patients. There's a company called Mozio. They're an early supporter of the Clinical Trials Guru. It's MOSIO. They specialize in text messaging for recruitment and for retention. There's a number of small recruitment firms out there that may or may not be able to help you recruit patients. So if you can find one of these companies, there's a lot of them. There's big ones, small ones. The big ones that I know of are Accurian, which, as far as I understand, they will not work with just one site at a time. They actually are hired by the CROs or the sponsors. But there's a lot of boutique firms, mine included. I have one that helps sites with patient recruitment. Sometimes we're successful, other times we're not, especially when the protocols are complex. I don't think there's a company out there, period, that has been able to completely solve the patient recruitment problem, especially for the more complicated studies and the more restrictive studies. But when you do find the patients, or you have a lead who might be interested in a study, as you know, follow-up is half the battle. It's probably more than half the battle. So getting a lead from an ad, meaning somebody clicked on your ad and decided, hey, I'm possibly interested in this trial. If you don't follow up with that individual immediately and then constantly, you're not going to have that patient ever screened. The chances of that happening are slim to none. But if you are able to follow up with them consistently and constantly and immediately, then there is tremendous value in that. And as far as I know, Mozio does that best with their text message reminders, and it's all automated. So all you do is put in the lead there. You can set up the system to where you can choose when it will send it out. And I know this is where being a realtor also benefits me in this industry. There's a lot of auto dialers and auto text message and auto email programs you can buy, not just for clinical research, but you can customize it for clinical research, and they're not that expensive. We're talking $99 a month maybe, where you can pretty much set up your leads, meaning patients who you may have gotten the lead from an ad or someone in the community who has given you the lead, or maybe a referral from another doctor who has given you a lead, but you haven't converted on that lead yet. Plug them into this auto dialer, auto text message, auto email, and you're definitely going to have a lot more success doing that, because it's going to get done. The follow-up is going to be occurring versus just writing down the numbers and then you remembering to give them a call sometime, because that's not as consistent and that's not as consistent or as immediate as software can be. Okay, so I think there is a competitive advantage for sites out there if you have the leads to remind the patients to come in. As far as generating the leads, I don't think you can replace that with technology. Again, there's some vendors out there that run some social media ads, online ads, offline on the ground recruiting. My firm does this too, but I don't think you can ever replace true lead generation, meaning finding patients that are appropriate for the studies, outside of interacting with physicians, your PI, your sub-I, and their colleagues. That's the best source of referrals, and I think your site should be focusing on that, and then entering those leads into a constant contact type of software. All right, so that could be a good technological competitive advantage for sites. So text messaging system, apps, no, forget about apps. I think there's way too many apps, and there's nowhere near the level of adoption by study participants with these apps for them to be of any value. So hopefully that helps. Let me know if it doesn't. Let me know if you have any ideas. Has technology helped your site at all? And if so, what? All right, Dan from theclinicaltrialsguru.com. Take care.